Which preachers and teachers do you most admire, and why is that? And also, how do you decide what's valuable about their content or their presentation style that's worth imitating in your own preaching and teaching? And that's what we're examining in this set of 3 episodes on sermon evaluation. Hello, I'm Malcolm, by the way, and this is teaching tip number 386, part 2 of this current series on reviewing sermons. Today we're talking about highlighting excellence. Now, recently my friend Bruce preached for us in Watford, and his lesson had a lot of really good, admirable qualities. So I thought we'd use his sermon as a way of learning how to imitate good practices and how to review a sermon to spot what is being done well. I have to say, though, that last week I said that in this week's episode, I would give my own evaluation of Bruce's lesson and comment on any observation you have sent in. And thanks, Karen, for being in touch already. However, on reflection, I realized I wasn't giving enough time for you, my viewers, to watch and think about Bruce's sermon and process that and then send in your own feedback. So therefore, this week I'm going to slide in an extra episode in between the two and offer you one method of evaluating lessons that you might find useful when you are watching or listening to somebody else preach or teach. And then next week, we'll go on to the specifics of what Bruce did so well. And there is a lot to talk about there. So this is just one method of evaluating a sermon, not so much to critique it. You could use it for that, but I'm talking here mostly about noticing what is done well so that you can then use it for yourself, or at least imitate in some form. So I've written down 11 suggested topics for you to think about when you're listening to or watching a lesson, whether live or online. And you might like to print this off. I have all this in the show notes and on the website, so you can copy and paste or use it for yourself or adapt it for your own use. But let me go through these points and briefly give you a thought about each one. So here are some things to think about. Number 1, speech. How is the speech? In other words, is it clear? Is the diction good? Secondly, movement. Is there intentional movement of the arms or the body? Is the movement useful or distracting? Thirdly, time. Is the time used well? Is it too long, too short? Is it appropriate to the occasion and the lesson? Fourthly, audio, visual, slides, videos, clips, whatever. Are they used well? Are they relevant? Are they distracting, or are they enhancing of the talk? Next, scripture. How is scripture used? Is it used well? Is it scattergun? Lots of different scriptures, but it's hard to see how they all connect. Or is there a thread if there's more than one scripture? How are the scriptures used? Points. Are the points clear? And do they follow one on another? Does point 1 come before point 2? Does point 2 make sense? A bit more of point 1. Is there a connection? Questions. Are questions used well? They might be rhetorical questions, or they might be ones expecting an answer. Are the questions clear and stimulating that help people to then process what they're being taught? Is the lesson interesting? It might be quite basic, but sometimes we can teach a lesson that's true, but not very interesting. Is it interesting? And if it is, what is it about the lesson that is interesting? Applicable is the next point. Is there something in the lesson that's applicable for you? In other words, how will I use this on Monday morning if it's a Sunday sermon? Is it applicable? What is it about it that means that it is applicable? Is it helpful? Closely allied to the point about applicability, but is it helpful to you? Something that you think, oh, this, I'm really glad I've learned this and I can use this. Is it helpful? And lastly, other. Is there anything else about the lesson that you thought was admirable, useful, or worthy of note, and therefore possibly imitation? That's just one method. That's one set of points you can use to evaluate a lesson. Right, that's it for today. Next time, I will go on to share my own thoughts about Bruce's sermon and my responses to your feedback. So please do send that in as quickly as you can, because I'll be posting that the week after this one. Please also add any of your own comments to this episode. We learn best when we're learning in community, so let's post where we can all learn from each other. If I may, I would like to invite you to join me in the AIM UK and Ireland teaching program. The details and the links are all in the show notes. If you have any questions about the Bible, do drop them my way. Send me an email, malcolm@malcolmcox.org. If you'd like a copy of my free ebook on spiritual disciplines called How God Grows His People, sign up for my weekly newsletter at the website, malcolmcox.org. Please pass this link on to anybody you think might benefit. Hit that subscribe button and notifications bell, and we'll stay in touch. And at all times, remember to keep calm and carry on teaching. Take care, and God bless.